I call the member for Kira. Kira.
Thank you, Mr Deputy Speaker, and I rise to support this very, very important bill. And can I firstly congratulate the Leader of the Opposition for his leadership in bringing this important piece of legislation to the floor of Parliament. I also want to say that this is exactly the type of legislation that many of us got into Parliament to work on and develop and enhance. And this is the sort of legislation, regardless of whether it's our side or your side, that we should be debating on the floor of this place. The Leader of the Opposition, I have known for a very, very long time, has had a deep and personal interest in this. This comes a long time before he was the Leader of the Opposition. This was an issue that he has felt very strong about. It is an issue that many people in the Labor Party feel very strongly about. But more importantly, as always, than any of us, this is an issue that that the community feel very strongly about, particularly, Mr Deputy Speaker, those people with very, very serious and life-threatening illnesses. Mr Deputy Speaker, I listened earlier in this debate last week to the member for Londonderry, who spoke about her experiences with people with MS, an insidious disease that does awful damage to the body and awful damage to the individuals that it ravages. I have a similar story, and he's become now a high-profile advocate for medicinal cannabis, and that's the gentleman by the name of Ben Oakley. And Ben has become,
10:50,
like Lucy Haslam, I suppose, one of the faces of the medicinal cannabis campaign. Ben is a young man who I first met some years ago during my first term in this place. He came into my electorate office virtually crippled, having had hundreds of seizures over a short period of time. He was a broken individual. And I actually met his parents one Saturday morning, and it will stay in my brain forever. I was having a cup of coffee, reading the paper, doing all those trivial things, and a distraught father and mother came down from the hospital, Wollongong Hospital, near where I had my coffee, and they grabbed their brekkie and sat down, and the father, after some time, got up and came over to my table and asked if I was Ryan Park, the MP, and I said, well, I hope there's not two of them. But we all do. Yeah, we all do. Yeah. We all do. Including my mum. But I said yes, and he said, we need your help. We are in a desperate situation. Our son has just had a night of ongoing seizures. He has had a night where multiple times the doctors said to his parents that he may not make it through the evening. He suffers from an insidious illness known as stiff person syndrome. It destroys their body. He was a fit, energetic triathlete, a person who was enormously passionate about life, and he was his parents at a coffee shop on a Saturday morning with nowhere else to go. I never forget that. And he said that they had been starting to use medicinal cannabis, but they felt like criminals. These are people who've never broken their law in their life, Mr Deputy Speaker. These are people who are law-abiding citizens. But what do you say to those people? You say to those people that you try for a few minutes to take your Member of Parliament hat off and your father's hat, or walk in the shoes of these people who are breaking. And for those of us on this side who believe in this bill, like the Leader of the Opposition and all of us, we then pursued relentlessly, and I made it a passion of mine to see legislation brought before this place that would make these people get the treatment that they need. Mr. Deputy Speaker, I've met with the Oakleys hundreds of times. I've been to their house, I've met with them on many, many occasions. His condition, Ben's, has improved somewhat. Came into my office virtually crippled, in a wheelchair. He struggled to go to university because he was having seizures. The university needed to put an enormous amount of support around him. We went through all that pain. We went through the challenges of him trying to get a permanent supply. His parents were extremely supportive of him, but this was difficult on the family, very difficult on the family. And Mr. Deputy Speaker, I said to them multiple times, and his father Michael has a little hashtag that says "Let's do this" and let's get this done. And I said to him that I know Luke is very keen on this. Sorry, the Leader of the Opposition is very keen on this, and the Leader of the Opposition met them in my office. He met them in my office. The Leader of the Opposition took the time to understand the issues, and then he took the time to bring legislation before this place. That's why I'm proud of him, because we are in a privileged position to make a difference here. We don't always agree, but we have a right and a responsibility to bring forward the issues that are important to us to be debated on this floor of Parliament. And I know the member for Wollongong, who's with me, knows the Oakleys very, very well. This is not for us. This is for Ben. This is for every single sufferer that vitally needs to be no longer treated like criminals and be treated in a humane way that all of us expect. Mr. Deputy Speaker, one of the things I distinctively remember saying to Michael when he said to me how difficult it is, I said to him that the reason I want to push this so hard is because if this was my two boys, and I talked to my local Member of Parliament about this, I would expect him to do more than write a letter to the relevant minister. So, to the Oakleys, to everyone who so desperately needs this Parliament to make it easier for them to access this vital health treatment, and it is a health treatment, and that's the way it should be considered, then this bill is for you. I say to the government, if you can improve this bill, do it, but please do not sit on your hands. Do not waste any time, because by wasting time, you are punishing good people who have done nothing wrong, other than to have, Mr. Deputy Speaker, an incredibly life-changing set of circumstances bestowed upon them that no one would ever wish for any of their loved ones. And Mr. Deputy Speaker, to Luke, can I say thank you on behalf of a very, very grateful community, but on behalf of a very, very grateful party. This is what Labor stands for. This is what we believe in. We believe in taking tough issues. We believe in taking tough social issues. We believe in prosecuting them out in the community. And when I first started talking about this many, many years ago after I met the Oakleys, I got questioned about, but are you about decriminalising drugs? Are you soft on drugs? I got letters through my electorate office at that time about it. But how things have changed. How things have changed in that time. Now, in our region, that the Honourable Member for Wollongong and myself are very fortunate to represent, we don't get that anymore. We get people saying to us, as Michael Oakley so very clearly puts it, let's get this done.